All right, so today I'm joined by Jose Delgado after 26-second knockout at UFC 317. Welcome, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. For the sweet weekend, and it was pretty long sweet right now.
Yeah, so coming off this win, you've been, killing it in the UFC since Contender Series. So how's it feel coming off this right now? Like what are the feelings like?
Ah, man, I'm so happy to be able to get that accomplished. A pay-per-view crowd feels different. Feels a hell of a lot different than the Apex. I found the Apex the last 2 times, so to go out there through the additional crowd was amazing. And man, I'm ready to do it again and again and again. I love the feeling.
So it looks like the UFC is investing in you because some guys got to fight more than once in their debut to get like a big opportunity on a big card, right? And they threw you on the International Fight Week card.
Yeah, how cool is that, man? International fight we get as big as it gets. And Nearly gets to Poirier, Charles Oliveira. We get Poirier's biggest star in the UFC right now, in my opinion. I feel grateful. I feel real grateful for that. And a lot of that also had to do with my opponent, Hyder Amil. You're in that right. It was kind of me stepping in for a couple other guys to get that shot, but I'm glad that I was on that list and my name got called.
For sure, yeah. And that talking about the win over Hyder, a lot of people were high on Hyder. He's a dog in there. You've been saying that in like every interview you've done since the fight. So he's got a lot of respect from the fans and a lot of the hardcore fans. And a lot of fans had some respect on your name too, but you haven't had as many performances in the UFC. So now, kind of coming in there and knocking him out in 26 seconds, I think you stole a lot of his hype. A lot of fans are high on you now.
Yeah, that was good goal, man. I knew that this was Hyder's moment, and it was my job to steal it. It was my job to make it my moment. It was my job to make a statement. And 26 seconds, quick little knee. I think made a pretty good statement. I'm ready to make another one.
Okay. So you ready to make another one? And I like to call out as well, UFC Noche, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's in what, September?
Yeah, September 13th.
Okay, and so you called out William Gomez. Is that still the guy you're high on, or like you ever consider any new opponents kind of like over the last couple days here?
I mean, I've seen a few that I like Onama would be cool. Onama's a ranked guy. I think he's viable. He's open. Onama would be sick to get a higher ranked opposition. I want challenge, man. I picked William Gomez not because I think he's some easy fight. Like I picked him because I think he's pretty good. I think he does things well, and I want to face. I want to. I want. I'm in this to seek mastery. That's my ultimate goal. Fuck everything else. Like I want to be a master at this craft. And so I want to be presented with problems. I think when Gomez presents the problems, I think when I'm presents the problems, I think I find the solution.
Okay, with the sorry, with Gomez, his striking's kind of unorthodox. What's the problems you kind of see that he presents?
Uh, I mean, he's not super unorthodox. He's a southpaw. He does his spins and stuff like that. But we're doing MMA context and the MMA meta. I think he tries to play a lot of the open stance things, and I think I can play with any configuration, man. I'm so confident as a southpaw versus orthodox, vice versa. I feel comfortable in there. I think that's what separates me too, is that I can fight all the different configurations. So I just want to see that configuration that he presents in front of me and trust myself, do all the work, do the homework, do the film study. But when I go out there, I forget about all that to some degree, and I just allow whatever presents itself to me in that moment to present
Okay,
itself.
got you. And what's it called with Gomez and Onama? Why did you say Onama by chance? Just curious.
I just seen him on like after people will fight, they'll be like, "Oh, next fight to make, next fight to make."
Yeah, you saw some media, MMA media posting about that or something?
Yeah, yeah, and I was
Okay.
like, "Oh, I like that." I didn't think about him. I was trying to see who was ranked or not ranked, who had fights coming up and not. I really wanted a Calvin Cater. Calvin Cater would be my first choice, but I seen he had a fight, so maybe we could get that one in the future.
Okay, so like a top 15 opponent then
Yeah,
already.
yeah, why not?
Okay. I mean, I think you're ready, but sometimes, they say like just take your time, you know what I mean? So that the big fights are worth what you're getting paid and stuff like that.
Yeah, I hear that argument, and like I agree, but I'll be honest, I'm not the most business-minded guy. I'm in this not trying to look. I want to get paid. I want all that, and I believe it's all coming. But my main objective, my main priority, is to see how good can I get at this? How great can I be at this? And fighting the tougher challenges. I think gets me to that point.
Okay. Well, yeah, and I think the Onama fight's a good call out as well. And then also with Gomez, I know people are probably just down on it because that's who Hyder beat, for those that don't know that. But at the same time, again, fans respect styles and certain fighters. And William Gomez is a guy that fans respect, regardless of who he lost to. You know what I mean? If that gets booked, I think people will still tune into it. So, two viable opponents, honestly, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah. You know
Yeah.
how it is with fans too, man. This is like it's such a what have they done for me now type of mentality, and it's fine, kind of just human nature to some degree. But I know what it feels like coming off a loss. Like I don't look at William Gomez as a guy like, oh, the guy I just beat him like that's an easy win. Like he's coming off a loss. That dude's gonna be hungry. He hasn't fought in a while. He's got. I'm sure he wants a UFC French fight the week before. Like I'm sure he's hungry as can be. But I don't view it as like he's in a down spot really.
Yeah, I feel you. And then talking about the fight, I just want to get your thoughts because you did say that you have a game plan and you kind of break down fights going into it, but by the time you step in there, it just like kind of goes out the window in a way. So, how did the performance play out like according to the game plan?
Pretty good, man.
Pretty good.
Yeah, there was phases, like there was more phases that I planned out. Like I had this, all right, at this stage, I'm gonna look to start attacking this part, this part, this part, and slowly break Hyder down and get him to the point where I can get a finish. But the one of the first sequences he put him down. Got it. We got out of there quick.
Okay, and can you even break down the finish in there for me? Because it was so quick. There's so much shit going on. So like, it was almost hard for me to kind of break that down myself.
I think off the rip, Hyder's trying to get me to walk into his power side hand. So he's as soon as we touch gloves, he goes in and kicks my calf. Kind of as soon as we touch gloves, but whatever, it's fine. And then he keeps looking for that kick. So he's trying to corral me to go into his power side. And then I'm just giving him different looks. I'm going lateral, lateral, lateral. And I could tell he was getting frustrated within those very short, quick seconds. We collide. I knew we were going to crash a lot. Just we're both aggressive guys. We both like to put the pressure on people. So I knew there was going to be collisions throughout. And I was preparing to play a good body lock game because I thought I'd be liable throughout. I shoot a body lock. He gives good hips, and then he uses a good overhook wizard to kind of toss me. I'm like, oh, it's not how I plan on this thing going. I scramble out. I get to my feet. I land a body shot on the way up. As we're separating, I'm seeing his head like just travel back and forth. He's letting himself get out of positioning. I just know if I put a 1-2 on him, I want to see where that goes. And that was kind of like the first thought in that exchange. I just want to throw this 1-2, one to the body, two to the head, see where he shifts. And as I saw him shift, he shifted hard this way. I clubbed him with the 3. I landed in the clinch, and he was kind of going into me. As he goes into me, I fling that knee up there,
Got
and
you.
the night.
So was it is that something you train as well, or was that almost kind of like you were almost flowing at a certain point where that knee kind of came up?
Yeah, how I mentioned earlier, like I kind of throw the game. I don't throw the game plan out the window. At that point, it's all internalized, so it's no longer in the monologue in my head. Like I'm doing this, I'm doing this. At this point, I've built everything. This is all muscle memory. I've visualized it all. Every sequence that I've done, I've repped thousands and thousands of times on an individual level. And once I fight, I just allow everything to flow together and allow myself to be free.
Okay. Yeah, and watching you fight, honestly, that's something I really noticed. Even in the Contender Series knockout, you have a way of like you have a good rhythm, and you can almost kind of just from an outside perspective watching you, it seems like you can like read your opponent's rhythm in a certain way. So you can almost see how they're coming, and then you anticipate that and then react accordingly. Kind of happened with both of your knee knockouts on Contender Series and with Amil.
Yeah, man, you give me enough time to make the reads, to like the data on you. Like I'll figure out a way to. I'll see where you're shifting your head. I'll see where you're shifting your body. I'll figure out a way to create a collision in there, and that's how I'm getting these knockouts. I don't think I have like crazy power per se, but I'm damn good at timing my shot to make these collisions happen where two forces are meeting at a very quick rate.
Yeah, you know, how they kind of say about how Pereira he goes into like that kind of trance in the middle of his
Mhm.
fights, and then that's usually when he finds the knockout. I
Mhm.
noticed the same thing a little bit with you. I also kind of noticed with Ilya how he kind of, it's like a rhythm where like you
Yeah,
don't get thrown off your rhythm in a way.
yeah.
And
I'm
once you
trying to make
find that, it's like fucking hard to stop it.
Yeah, that's what elite striking is, man. It's whoever controls rhythm, distance, you win the fight. Like you control those things, you're winning the stand-up fight.
Hmm. Okay. And now talking about like your martial arts background and stuff, I actually did happen to see they posted the UFC Unfiltered interview. So I heard
Oh, cool.
some of your
Yeah.
backstory, and it looks like you started training when you're like 10 years old or something around that age.
Yeah, it was around that age, man, and it started just because I was a fan of the game. My brother would always put on the boxing fights. It'd be so much, family, friends that would come over, and I always loved that element of it. It was a good way for us to connect and watch something cool. And I always thought it was cool. Like after the fights were over, and this was like before any ambition to do this, but like after the fights were over, it'd always be like a huddle of whoever watched the fight, being like, how did that land? Why did that land? What did they do to set that up? So it was always the IQ element of the game has always been interesting to me. And then I watched my first MMA fight, and I was like, this is what I got to do. Like, this is just so visceral. Like, the amount of violence that's being displayed. Honestly, this was really attractive to me. And I begged my mom to sign me up. She finally relented after a while and signed me up to the local gym in Yuma, Arizona, around 10
Yeah.
years old.
And so you started with jujitsu, or was that like a MMA gym?
That was the cool thing, man. It was an MMA gym. So I started in MMA, which is a
Okay.
very cool. Like this was 2008, 2009. Like the sport hadn't evolved. Like there was no Fox show at this point. We were still on Spike TV. Like the UFC was at such a different stage than it's at now. It's grown so much, and it was cool at that time to have an MMA gym. It was ran by a guy named Castro. Shout out to Castro. He's a big part of the Yuma MMA scene. He fought Uriah Faber for the WC title, which was cool because I met Uriah backstage behind my uh before my fight. He was in the locker room with me with Slava Claus.
Okay, yeah.
So it sounded like a full circle moment to see Uriah Faber. I was like, oh, that's cool.
That's dope.
Um, yeah, so I'm not Cain. Cain's from Yuma, but Calvin Gastelum came out of that gym. That's right, Escudero came out of that gym.
Okay.
And it was a cool place to have in a smaller town, relatively high level MMA at the time.
Hmm. Definitely, because where I'm from actually, there's not too much high level training.
Mhm.
So being that Kelvin and Efrain Escudero came from your gym, did that kind of make you feel like, all right, like whatever they're teaching me here, I can like take that as like, that's some good shit to learn.
Yeah, I mean, I always believed in my coaches. I always had faith. But it was more so just like, oh man, they're from like Yuma, like they're from like my little town, like and they made it. Like that's cool, like that. And then to see Cain fight for a world title at like 12 years old, around that age, whenever he fought Brock Lesnar, that was like a huge moment too. Like, dang, now not only can you like make it to the UFC, but you can be a world champion to come from where we come from. That was super inspiring. Like that really grew the mustard seed of faith inside of me.
Yeah. And so when you started competing, went from training to competing, what was like that first competition? Was it MMA or was it like a lot of grappling or?
Yeah, it was mostly jiu-jitsu tournaments coming up from Yuma to Phoenix. I met Benson before his UFC debut when I was like a little kid coming
Oh,
up for a
damn.
jiu-jitsu tournament. Yeah, that was cool. I met like a lot of guys like Ryan Bader. Those are cool moments, coming from a small town, seeing like people that are in the UFC. That was cool. Um, yeah, and then I had my first MMA fight around 12, a little
Okay.
smoker at the gym. Yeah, with my buddy Abraham. That was a
So you
cool
had
little
some
experience.
smokers going on early too.
Yeah,
Damn. Okay.
not too
So
many though, not too many.
got you. And then I heard too that you weren't that good when you first started competing.
Yeah,
There was like a learning curve.
it
When
was
did
a
that learning
major
curve
learning
kind of
curve,
end? Like after a year or 2 years?
dude. I think my whole childhood, I wasn't. I could never translate how good I thought I was doing in the room to in the competition. I did pretty decent my last couple of years of wrestling in high school, but I never reached I wanted to be this champion. I wanted to win this tournament. I wanted to do this. Like my standards for myself has always been high. Like I always have held myself to high standards. And I just it wasn't happening for me. Uh, so I feel like I really learned how to be a competitor. I've always had the competitive nature, but I really learned how to be a competitor and flip the switch in my MMA career.
Okay, got you. Yeah, when I actually was wrestling in high school too, my first couple matches, especially when I got to the higher level, like in varsity, I was just getting like ran through. But I felt like I was a lot better than that, you know. But I'd
Yeah.
be losing in like 30 seconds and shit. I'm like, dude, what
Uh,
the fuck's going on here?
yeah, yeah, it's
I gotta go to
frustrating,
like
right?
the frosh off tournament the next day, you know, because I can't even
Uh-huh.
make it to the second day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And
So,
then were you training a lot though, or like what, like the learning curve? Were you putting like your all into training, or was it maybe like were you only training like a couple days a week, or?
yeah, no, like I trained pretty hard. I was pretty dedicated, but there's learning curves to it all. Like it was a lot of this is mentality and a lot of this is belief, and the belief wasn't there early on. It took a long time to develop that for like a variety of reasons. But yeah, man, it's just been a process, you know.
Got you. So you were training hard though. That's my main thing. I was wondering if you were training hard or if you were just kind of training a couple days a week.
I mean, it's weird to talk about training hard when it's like we were 12. Like we were training hard, but we're off the 12. We were fucking around. We are doing whatever, you know.
Got you. Relative to your age, right? You're probably still just focused on having fun and shit like that too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, training hard. Wrestling was hard. Like wrestling's a hard sport. I'm really grateful to have spent as much time as I did growing up and dedicated to that. I feel like it taught my mentality more so than anything, and really prepared myself. And I was around a lot of great coaches and mentors as a young kid.
Okay. And then just because you said that you did well in wrestling like your last couple years, did you make it past like maybe a regional tournament or something like that? Like the last tournament of the year where you can qualify to go to state and shit like that. Like,
So my senior year, I think I was 14-2 uh in Arizona. I like beat the two guys that beat me. I lost. I was pretty close to being All American at Reno, which was a big national tournament. I was like one away. Um, but then before the state tournament, I lost my varsity spot.
uh,
Yeah, so I was like, that broke my heart as a little kid. It's funny to think back on it, but at the time, like that was the world, like that was earth shattering. Like I had it written down, like I wrote it down every day. State champ, state champ. This is what I'm gonna accomplish. This is gonna be the leaping point to the MMA career and set me up right mentally, you know.
yeah.
And I was doing well in Arizona. I was doing very well in Arizona, but just lost to my own teammate at the time.
Yeah. Was he your same grade or was he like younger than you or anything?
I think he was a couple years younger, if I remember
Oh,
correctly.
okay, got you. And so yeah, you're probably just devastated because that's your last year of wrestling. You can't even like have another chance. Did that
Mhm.
motivate you though when you graduated and maybe like transition to MMA?
I mean, immediately after, dude, I was just so I was like, it's funny, it's so funny to talk about now, but like I was heartbroken at the time. Like it was a
Mm,
devastating feeling. So it was like there was a lot of self doubt after that. So it was a year of like, damn, do I even like why should I even go for this? Was kind of the mentality. Like I don't have any evidence that really supports this besides just the want in me, you know? And that was like a little hurdle to overcome. To be like, nah, like I am gonna go for it. Like I see it so clearly in my mind. I close my eyes, I could feel the lights, I could see the arenas going, I could feel it. Like I know it to be true, and I know I will it to be true. I just have to keep going down that road.
mhm. And so over that year is when you kind of were going through all that and it kind of made you go back to MMA then, I'm assuming?
Yeah, well, I moved from Yuma, Arizona. I was supposed to go to college. I was just gonna whatever. I had kind of surrender to the idea that I'll go to college, I'll get a regular job, I'll do the regular route in my head a little bit, but just that nagging feeling of like, no, like I have to see this other thing, this dream out. I have to see it out. So like the week before college was supposed to start, I was like, I can't, I'm not doing it. Like I told my mom, I was like, I'm sorry, like, and that was a tough decision. Like education was the thing that was so pushed. Like like my parents came to this country, they're like, we came to give you a better life, for you to be educated, for you to get a good job.
Mhm.
You know how it is.
Definitely.
Um, and so that was like a tough decision, but it was like a decision I just felt like I wouldn't have been content with myself if I didn't. So I didn't go to college. I moved from Yuma to Phoenix, Arizona. Started working kind of dead end jobs that kind of built up that courage to start training again. And once I started training again, I started training with them in MMA Lab.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was about 18 years old. So it wasn't too long of a wait, but there was a good little chunk there where I wasn't doing much of anything.
Got you. So you actually just like moved out of your parents' house when you decided to pursue MMA.
Yeah.
Were they did they tell you like, "Nah, man, we can't like if you're not gonna go to school, you gotta like leave," or did you just choose to do that?
I just chose to do that. I just felt like if I stayed in Yuma, I probably wouldn't have done much. I just needed the environment change. It was too
Got you.
comfortable to live at the time, live with my parents, would live with my mom. Now it was just too comfortable. I didn't think I'd get to where I wanted to get to if I stayed there.
I feel that. You got a lot of distractions, probably like the homies you grew up with too in high school and
Mhm.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
How did you so you just got a job though and like lived on your own in Phoenix for a little bit, or
No,
what was that?
my sister lived out here, so I stayed with my sister while I worked at a warehouse, and then I worked at a hospital, and then I worked so many random jobs after
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Kind of, figure out the schedule to fit as much MMA as I possibly could into my day.
That's what you were doing. You're just trying to balance to like get to a point where you could train more than like you're working to some degree.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was working like the weirdest hours, like 7 p.m. to like 12 p.m. doing
Okay.
like garbage disposal for like apartment companies, just random jobs. I don't even know how I got into that.
People don't know that though. Like when I was just graduated too, I was like in love with jujitsu. And so I was working at like UPS from like 3 a.m. to like
Yeah.
fucking 8 a.m. and shit because
Yeah,
I
I've
wanted
done
to
those
train
shifts
at
at
night.
Amazon. Yeah, I've done those shifts at Amazon too.
Yeah, yeah. And like, that's the thing about training is you can't really work a regular job like 9 to 5 and shit because that's like prime hours to train.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
feel
want
you.
to be able to get a morning session, a night session. I mean, I was putting hours in the gym. Like I was putting a full 7, 8 hour shifts, like from 18 to 25. Like it was just obsessively repping out the moves over and over, and taking as many classes as I could possibly, as many classes as I possibly could have.
Yeah. How long were you working till? Up until like a year ago or a couple years ago?
Uh, on and off, but man, so there's like a bit of on and off to it, but I've been pretty lucky that around 2020, Benson Henderson kind of sponsored me and was like, nah, like I believe in you and I want you to I see the amount of time and energy you're putting into this. Like I want you to quit your job. I was working at Amazon, I think at the time I'm doing like 7, 12 hour shifts. He's like, I want you to quit, like I want you to just focus on fighting full time. So he sponsored me for like about 2 years. And then other sponsors came in and they kind of helped the load out. And I've been able to pretty much like I've had random like lift jobs, little restaurant jobs here and there to pay some of the bills. But for the most part, I've been pretty much full time for the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay. Thanks to Benson then. He saw the work
Yeah,
ethic.
yeah, he believed in it. He believed in me early, man. He believed in me like super early, like 2 weeks into me getting on the fight team with me, which is weird to think about.
Yeah, and I don't see him always cornering all the MMA Lab guys. So I was gonna ask about that, but I just want to ask another thing real quick, which was, oh, what was the did he have any conditions for the sponsorship, or was it just like come in and train full time? That's what I require from you.
Yeah, I mean, so I got on the fight team. I sparred Benson, but maybe like 2 weeks in. I don't think he was in for whatever reason. I was like an 18, 19-year-old kid. I spar him, and I remember our first sparring session, and he kicked the dog shit out of my lead leg. I'm saying I had like a sack of blood just hanging off my thigh. Like I couldn't walk the next day. I couldn't go to work. I was like, damn, he thinks I suck. It's like, how could I let my leg get kicked off this much? But apparently, from that moment, from that sparring session, he's like, oh, all right, like there's something to this kid because I didn't know this at the time, but like he's like, all right, most people are falling. Most people, and I've seen it after the fact, like people's first time sparring and people's first like initiation. It's kind of just where it is. But like people go down, people take their breaks, and I just kept going for it. Kind of like a dumbass, just gave my leg chopped off Robbie Lawler, Calvin Meinhardt style. Um, and then a bit after that, maybe like 6 months after that, like he kind of just banked that in his head, and I didn't think he thought of anything of me. I'm new, I'm young, I'm pretty quiet. And he's like 6 months after that, he's like, hey, whatever it was, maybe it was a year, but it was a while after, and he's like, hey, like I think you're pretty good. Like Mario Bautista's like my like first round draft pick, be a world champion. I think that of you. And I told him like I try to muster out like, oh man, that means so much. Like thank you. he cuts me off right away, and he's like, "This isn't like a congratulations. This is an obligation. Like, this is a responsibility. You have to know that there's consequences that come with this from the group." So that was kind of the mentality, and from that point, that was those are the conditions kind of thing. All
Okay.
it takes is everything you got. So all I give is everything I got.
Right. I heard that's one of the big things he says, right? Which is pretty
Mhm.
simple. It's pretty
It's
true
pretty
too.
simple. It's
Yeah.
pretty simple and it's pretty true. Yeah.
That's cool though that he's like, "Hey, like don't even like take it as a compliment what I'm saying though. Like now you got a weight on your shoulders now that I've like bestowed, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
this potential upon you. Now you got to live up to it, right?
Yeah. What a
Right.
pressure. What a privilege pressure is, right?
Right, for sure. It is a privilege. I think Volkanovski says that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's tough, man. Because everything's so cliche. It's like, ah, do I even say it? But like all the cliche stuff is true.
it is. Even if it's corny, it's true. It could be
Yeah.
both things are true, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and I just want to ask too a couple more things. What was I gonna say? Oh, the training because we're talking about MMA Lab and like a lot of people say that the gym is hot right now, right? But it's been hot since like Benson Henderson put it on the map like all those
Yeah,
years
man.
ago. You got Drakkar Close and like even Jeremy Stevens comes from there, right?
No, Jeremy,
Oh, my
maybe he
bad.
spent some time there, but he's a San Diego guy. I don't
That's
know
right.
where he's
That's
at
right.
now. Yeah.
I think Jeremy Stevens I'm mixing in, but Drakkar Close, right?
The car closed. Yeah, I mean, if we go down the list, it'll take a fat minute. We got some stuff. We got Jared Cannonier, the show Gorilla, Mario Bautista, Marcus McGee fighting Peter Yan. Markel Madera's just fought, did well in the UFC. We got so many studs there, man.
O'Malley basically came from there, or like at least
Yeah,
utilized the gym a little bit, right?
yeah. He started his career with us. Now him and Tim are doing their own thing, but he definitely started with us and got to the UFC with us.
Yeah. So my thing is like I see that there's like a fight team, so you got it seems like you got to qualify to even like be a part of a certain like echelon of fighters in the gym. So is it like the training schedule that kind of makes you guys all really good quality fighters, like well-rounded and shit? Because there's no holes in the game, you know?
Yeah, I mean, our practices are invite only, and invites are only handed out from our head coach down south. And the quality of the room, man, everyone's so hungry to get better. Everyone's such a good student of the game, and it's put 30 to 40 individuals that want to be the best next to each other and tell them to just go. Like, cool things start to happen. I have my ideas of what I think the game looks like. Other people have their ideas, and then we just mesh these ideas together, and it makes us all super complete.
Okay. And so you say invite only, meaning like, what if like a guy from, and Sean Strickland might be a bad example because he's kind of like edgy, but anybody from another gym hitting up you guys, like, what's the deal with that?
Oh yeah, everyone's all the high level guys. It's just a level, right? You gotta be standard. They gotta be standards. Um, but yeah, UFC guys are welcome. Our old also comes in, spend some time with us. A lot of guys kind of come through. I've come through out through the years. Like I remember seeing Korean Zombie, DJ Penn, Carlos Condit, Craig Jones. Like there's been such a random amount of characters that have come through the gym. Very cool. One of my favorite parts about it. Just a fight fan.
It's a low key gym though. There's not a lot of footage of like, I feel like John Crouch, like training fighters and stuff. So we don't know like what he has you guys doing in there.
Mhm.
What
Yeah,
do you guys do like gi jujitsu, like no gi, like what's the training like a little bit? Is it all mixed like as in MMA or do you train individual disciplines?
man, I kind of like the mystery element of it, the way you brought it up. But
I know, right?
nah, it's a MMA gym, man. Like our elite team practices, like the gym itself offers a lot of practices. There's wrestling, there's jiu-jitsu, there's striking for all levels. Like it's a real family friendly environment. But then our team practices are pretty. Mondays are going to be our striking practices, usually ran by Randy Stanky or Everton Lopez. Um, Tuesdays in the morning, we have mid session. So there's a bunch of striking coaches that are there in the morning with Joe Riggs, um, Ivan, Rob Emerson, Andy Stanky, Everton Lopez. So you kind of pick and choose who your guys are and work with them. And then in the afternoons, Tuesday and Thursday, we got our grappling days. You know, sometimes we'll wear gloves, sometimes we'll play spar into our grappling a little bit more, but more so heavy grappling. Wednesdays are sparring. Saturday go sparring, then everything else he looks at you to have a general of the shit. Like you dictate all the extra work that you're doing. I hate the term extra work. It's all just work. You dictate the work that you choose to do.
Patching up holes, like everybody has individual holes, right? So whatever you got to patch up, so to speak.
You gotta get your strength and conditioning. We have a great strength and conditioning guy. He's a big part of the foundation of that gym. His name's Jared Akey. He's helped Benson credits him a lot for his title run, his conditioning. Man, he helps us all get ready for his battle, man.
Okay. And about the coaching, does Crouch kind of say like guys who's like coaching you guys, does he teach them a certain style to teach you or like do you understand what I'm saying in a way? Like
Yeah,
does
no,
Crouch have a system that he has coaches teach the fighters or something?
no, I mean, there's like systems in terms of like, all right, this is how we believe the best way to get out from half guard side control. This is kind of our meat and potatoes. Like this is the MMA Lab system. All right, we're gonna do. I don't even want to say, it, but we're gonna like this is what we do for these certain positions. But what if he does so well is he allows us to play and explore and kind of go down our rabbit holes throughout our practice. And it's not always the most like this specific technique, this specific this or that. It's more situational based. All right, what do you do in this situation? What do you do in that situation? I think you messed up a little, and then he'll come in and he'll like nitpick, and we'll have a good amount of people in the team in the room that walk around and can help with individual questions. Or if we're good and we're flowing well, we'll just let it go and find the rabbit holes, and maybe we'll have a discussion afterwards.
Okay. So it sounds like there's like quite a bit of situational, like we'll talk about like or you guys will talk about like a high percentage situation you might get in the fight and then you work on like how to get up, what's the best way to get up from half guard and shit like that. Which
Yeah,
is super key. A lot of guys, if we're just being real, they get stuck over there. A
yeah,
large percentage of the UFC. So to have that as like a prerequisite, like you can't even step in the cage unless you know this specific get up, is pretty powerful, I think.
yeah. It gives us a lot of confidence, man. I feel free in there. I'm not ever worried like, oh, what if I get taken? What if I this or that? Like, I've been put in all these positions by guys that I have so much faith in their skill set, and I think they're so good. It gives me the confidence. Like, all right, I know how I dealt with that guy there. Oh, he's best here. This guy's the best on the back. This guy's the best in the room at front headlock. This guy, everyone's got their niche that they gravitate to. So we're lucky enough to be able to bounce around with those kind of people.
Yeah. And it creates for a lot of evolution, like you said, continued evolution too. Because
Yes,
again,
sir.
sometimes a fighter can kind of stay stagnant for a while.
Yeah, that's
Um,
purgatory.
right, for sure.
Yeah.
Now this is pretty much the last topic. We'll do maybe like 5 more minutes, if that's cool. Okay. I just want to ask, because you said you're from Yuma, Arizona. I also heard that you are one of seven siblings, the youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, and your parents raised you guys, like both your parents and stuff?
Yeah, my pops passed away when I was pretty young, but
Okay. Rest in
yeah,
peace to your father.
yeah, they were together almost 20 years, 25.
Okay. I lost my dad too, so I know the feeling of that. So yeah, I just want to say condolences again on that.
Appreciate it, man. Likewise.
But and with your family and stuff, what were you like as a kid?
Oh man, what was I like as a kid?
Aside from the training, what was like young Jose like running around?
I don't know. I felt kind of like a dancing monkey being like the youngest. I was like they had. It felt weird. It felt like I was like real young. Like it was not that crazy. The difference between me and the next one is about 6 years, and it felt like they were like, all right, this is like the established family, and then my like accident ass comes in. You know what I'm
You're an
saying?
accident?
Yeah, I mean the last three had. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
I try to put my parents info out there like that.
No, you're chilling, you're chilling.
But I just kind of felt like a little. I don't know what's the word. I was very like I was taking a show and tell, bro. Like they took my ass to show and tell. And they're like, oh, this is the kid. So I
My little
kind of had the
brother.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a little dancing monkey element to it all. It's a funny correlation to go out and fight in front of thousands of people now.
Yeah.
Um, but man, I'm a big family, man. Mexican families are super tight, and the thing I really loved about growing up in my childhood was, all the dinners that we would have, all the barbecues, the carne asadas, the cousins coming by, the tios and tias coming by. There's always just a lot of family stuff. Um, We always played rough, always wrestled around WWE when she was at the time. So I had trampoline too. So we were always having like the craziest, the most elaborate style WWE matches. I was in intercontinental champion for like a few years running. And throw that out there.
You had the belt or what?
Yeah, I had the belt,
Yeah.
dude. No one could take that bad boy off of me.
That's the
I
one
didn't
with
like
the
them.
world on it, right?
Yeah.
It's got the map on it. That one's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
thought
sick,
that was I
honestly.
thought that was the sickest belt.
With the blue, it's got like a little teal
Yeah,
on it.
with
Yeah, I
green,
feel you.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you kicked it with your family a lot then. Did you ever kick it with friends or you had so much family around it wasn't really you didn't kick it with too many like homies?
No, yeah. I would always go over to my cousin's house and that was a cool like in my neighborhood there wasn't that many kids around. There was more like there was more older people for whatever reason. But at my cousin's, my cousin didn't live that far, so I'd always be over there at his neighborhood, and there was always a sick amount of like neighborhood kids. We'd always be playing, whatever sport, football, tackle football in the street, baseball, basketball, doing dumb shit. Like it was cool, it was a cool environment. We were
Got
open,
you.
and I
You would
like
blend it
Yuma.
then.
Yeah, and I like Yuma too so much because it's so much quieter. I feel like that I'm living in Phoenix right now. Phoenix is so like hustle and bustle city. And Yuma so more like much more like just tranquil and just like in my opinion calm.
Okay. Is it more like what's the difference as far as like the demographic goes? Is it like same type of like is Yuma less nice than Phoenix?
Uh I think some people could define it as that. I think it's pretty nice, but it's a different vibe for sure. Like I don't even know where like our biggest building is. It might be like 5, 6 stories. So like when I came out to Phoenix, like for tournaments, and I would see like the little skyscrapers downtown, it'd be such a trip to me. I was like, what are these buildings? Why are there so many? Like why do there need to be these buildings? It was hard for me to wrap my head around. It's just a smaller town vibe.
Got you. Um, last thing, your mom just being that like, you had to tell her like I don't want to go to college and shit like this and she's like, we moved to America to give you that opportunity to go to college and stuff. Now it's paying off. I don't know like how many bonuses or whatever you've been getting paid, but I'm sure you're getting paid decently. How does or what's her thoughts on it now that like your dream is kind of coming true?
Oh man, it's so cool. Like I was able to like walk and like as I'm like leaving the arena, because I was able to go back and watch the fights with my family and friends. And I was leaving the arena. I'm like walking with my girl. I'm like looking around. I'm seeing my family. I'm like, how crazy of a feeling is that, man? Like from being that kid in Yuma saying like, let me try to do that, to going out and being able to bring my mom to the T-Mobile Arena, being able to see my brother, my sisters, my cousins all make it out there, my friends all make it out there. Like I brought them to the T-Mobile Arena to watch me fight. That is a feeling that I'm forever gonna just love. I'm just gonna love that feeling.
Hell yeah, man. Are you able to see that she's proud of you, like through her
Yeah,
reactions
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that? Does that feel good for you? Because I'm sure that
Yeah,
was
of
like a weight
course,
on your
man.
shoulder for a few years there.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to do right by them. They've done right by me so much. Like I wouldn't be in the position I am without them. Like there's no way, man. And just the work ethic that I've garnered from them and my older siblings, I feel very grateful to be able to give that moment to them and feel their pride. Super special.
Awesome. I said one more, but I just have to point this one out. Shout out to God, right?
For
Everybody
sure.
on the card, pretty much everybody except for two people, they didn't shout it out. But what was it like to see that video where everybody kind of like gave glory to God and Jesus?
Yeah, man, that was very cool. Like I really do believe you gotta surrender yourself, and I think great things come from that. And it was cool to see.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, I think with that performance, especially with what you've been doing, you called for Noche UFC. I'm 90% sure you're gonna get that.
Yeah,
And even if you
hopefully.
don't get the opponent that you're asking for, I think matchmakers are really good at their job at this stage in your career where like you're kind of coming up. So I think they'll find you a good opponent for Noche UFC in September. I'll keep my eyes out for it.
Appreciate it. I'm excited for
All right, bro. Nice to meet you, Jose, and congrats on all the success. And yeah, looking out for the announcement soon.
it. Appreciate it, man.